So we're about to start taking this differential apart on this. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. All the crown gear bolts are loose. There's one snapped off. Like, how did this not freaking grenade? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That bolt snapped off. That one's, I can't turn with my fingers. But I'm going to mark the caps because I'm not sure if we're rebuilding this differential or replacing it. I think a piece of the bolt that come out and hit the case, you can see where it hit the case up in here, snapped the bolt off and then went in between the case and the differential reluctor and caused the reluctor to jam off and then broke the speed sensor. If you watched the previous video and all that drama. Now fortunately this is a full floater, so we can just pull the axle shafts out. We don't have to take the wheels off. So let's get it apart. So you want to explain to me how this happens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every crown gear bolt is loose. One came out far enough that it hit the case and broke off. So that means there's a piece of bolt in here someplace. I haven't found it yet. It's probably up inside the pinion here. So this thing's going to need a rebuild. And the case. This reluctor is available from Ford, but it's 6 weeks to get it. So I've sourced a complete used differential assembly, and we could steal the carrier out of it and put a bearing set in this thing. I think would be the most cost-effective approach, so I'm going to price that out. So I can't find the head of that bolt. I suspect it's inside there, because you can see where it hit the case here and snapped off. This one bolt is broke off. So the pinion bearings feel smooth, and the bearings themselves don't look that bad. The wear on the bearings is not aggressive, but there's metal throughout the diff, so I'm going to recommend a bearing set. And we're going to obviously have to pull that pinion out to replace the bearings and find that head of that bolt. Wash the case thoroughly. Don't mix the shims up. We should be good with the original shims. I think I dropped one on the floor. Yeah, there it is on that side. I usually hang them on the shot bolts on the appropriate side. Yeah, let's get some parts and prices together for this guy. So I sourced a previously enjoyed rear axle housing assembly, but we're just going to take the carrier out of it because this one has some metal in it too. Bearings are shot. There's no preload on the side bearings, but the case is in good shape. I'm going to transfer the crown gear from the original set. I got the pinion gear out, and look where the bolts are. Is it safe to leave those in there? I guess they would. There was 2 missing? Huh. 2 broken off. So they went down through here in between the bearing races. Huh. This differential's been apart before. You can see the red silicone on the pinion, and whoever did it obviously either didn't torque the pinion or torque the carrier bolts correctly or didn't use Loctite on them. This pinion gear looks good. No marks on it, amazingly. So we're going to use his original crown and pinion. Going to change the bearings. I had a hell of a time getting those case bearings off the side. I had to heat them with a torch and air hammer them. Man, they were tight. Oh well. I got a case kit a rebuild kit, bearing and seals, and we're going to clean up the housing now. So cleaning this housing, I'm using a Ford crank sensor to pick up the metal filings. That's pretty bad. I'm going to put a super strong magnet inside the diff housing down in here, because it's next to impossible to get every tiny fraction of these metal filings out of here. I'm using a Varsol spray nozzle. Who knew you could repurpose a Ford crank sensor for this purpose? Good strong magnet. There's lots of metal up in that spot. Okay, well, I'm going to get the air blower out here. Move my camera. So there's the axle housing cleaned. Sprayed Varsol. And I put a N55 magnet, 1/2 inch cube, down in the bottom of the case here. Not much is going to get past that. If there's any significant metal steel filings in there, that magnet will catch it. There's also a magnet on the drain plug, or the fill plug I should say. Focus. We'll clean that up. So let's put the bearing races in. So there's the original pinion with the new pinion bearing installed. I reused the original shim. This bearing kit, I'll put a link in the description, is a master kit. It comes with the crown gear bolts, all 4 bearings, a pinion seal, a crush sleeve, and a pinion nut, and a selection of shims as well. Yeah, we got to put some oil on this and put the pinion bearing in, and got the new crush sleeve in there. We'll put it in the case. So there's the new bearing races installed, ready to put the pinion in. So the rotational torque is 16 to 29 inch-pounds, so it's right around 30. So that's what we're going to use. That's the pinion bearing preloaded. Feels good. So here's the various torque specifications. The differential ring gear bolts are 111 foot-pounds, and the case bearing caps bolts are 88 foot-pounds. So I've got it ready to go back in. I'm just waiting for a helper to come and give me a hand to get it in there. These bolts are all torqued and Loctited. Yeah. Differential's clean, ready to go back in. So we're checking backlash. We got 10 thou. So we're going to run a pattern. The spec is 8 to 12. So we're right in the middle. So we're going to run a pattern and see how it is. So the pattern looks pretty good on the drive side. Let's see. Where's the ear marking compound? You can see where it's contacting. Here's the paint that I put on it right there. Right just below center. Looks good on the drive. And not bad on the coast. These gears have been changed before, so we'll seal it up. So there it is back together. Axle shafts installed, cover sealed, new speed sensor installed, wiring harness connected. I still have to fill it, but I cleaned the used differential cover, and I'm just putting this used rear end back together again. Somebody resealed this cover. This is the original cover off this truck. You can see that somebody sealed it with 5-minute epoxy or DevCon or something. Why would you seal it and not fix the problem inside? Go figure.